here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
Hello and welcome to the Integration Station. I've got a wonderful guest here today. This is my mom, GreenIrene, and we're going to talk about some of the adventures that we've been on this summer. Also, a lot of the work that she's been doing since she's been back. You know, travel is so much like a psychedelic experience. You know, you're tapping into this sense of awe consistently. You're changing who you are and the ways that you do things. And then in addition, like when you get back home or settled, you know, then comes the integration work and you've been killing it. Like, so I'm really excited to share what it is that you've been up to, but yeah, even more so like how it all started for you. So yeah, just take it away.
Well, you caught me on a day that I'm actually taking a down break. So I'm enjoying right now some of my harvest this year, which this is the blueberry harvest, blueberry kush. And the reason I bring it up is I try a lot of different strains. I'll get to the trip in a minute, but I try a lot of different strains. And in the last 2 years, I have tried over 1,400 strains that I have recorded of cannabis.
So that's definitely not all of it because I have spent time with you in this last year.
Right. So now there's a lot of people out there who enjoy their cannabis. I'm one of those persons. I have my favorites and my go-tos, of course. But I like to try like wine. Some people like, you know, back in the 90s, a whole culture called yuppies was built on tasting different wines. Some of them aren't so good. Some of them are fabulous. It's the same with cannabis strains. So I've had the opportunity to share that experience with you and hundreds of others. But
and you have your companion guide now too, so other people can document and figure out what strains work for them as well.
Yes, because people ask me, well, how do you keep track of all that? So we're going to get to those details in a few minutes because, yeah, I got them all right here. I have been. Okay, so our trip mentioned at the start of the show that we did this amazing trip this year. And we really did. It was, I've been home for 2 months and I still don't have the words to express the experience of all that happened and took place during that adventure. Historically, where I was coming from, prior to the trip, I had been working on books for probably about 6 years. I have an entire series called the Info is Power series, for the record. And just a little tidbit, it is available now. Yes. Okay. Actually, some of the titles are available now, about 9 of them. So when we went, prior to going away, I'd been working on these for about 6 years. I had been building this library of information of how to use cannabis, neuro-linguistic programming, which sounds really fancy, but really what it comes down to, it's how we talk to ourselves. That's all that it is. It's how you talk to yourself, the words you use when you're talking to yourself. And it retrains your brain. So if you use the right words, you can train your brain to do whatever you want it to do. And hypnosis makes it really easy. So I've been studying those and I've been talking about, blending those unique therapies all into one to create a holistic battle strategy, to help you basically. And everything just kept sitting on the shelf. Nothing was getting finished. And one catastrophe after another. There was, some family tragedies in which sent me even deeper into a spiraling sadness and state of depression, I guess, to some degree, where I wasn't completing things. And as a direct result, we ran away. We escaped, right? We went, I went out west, and we traveled. We went through the mountains, and we just explored. And every day was a new adventure, and every day was an opportunity to meditate in a new space, in a new place, which forces our minds. So when we look at hypnosis and NLP and the way that it works, being in a different environment, in addition to created a different mindset, and cleared away a lot of debris, if you will. During that time, we were enjoying the beauty, and not just enjoying, but sharing as well, the beautiful gifts from Vior and Bloom Sticks. We had our dabs, though we didn't do the dabs. We shared a lot of the dabs.
I'm a joint smoker. I left the dabs, but I've been getting into them on this farm. It's just around. So.
Right. And it's
I'll try some new medicine, new ways of working with it.
Yeah, and these guys Vior produces, so they gave us for our daily doobie. They hosted our daily doobie show. So every day that we were in a zone where we could actually broadcast from.
Some of them we pre-recorded though, just because the scenery was just so beautiful, and we're we have to share this with people. May as well light up a joint and enjoy it at the same time.
Right. We did do that. Several times, because we'd be right out of zone. We had no internet, no phone, and it was wonderful.
It's nice.
It was so necessary for health and wellness. And I get it. Not everybody can escape out west. Not everybody can escape to do the kind of adventure that we did, but you can take a weekend and just go up north, go to the bush, go to nature, go to the lake, go somewhere where there's not a lot of people, but there is a lot of spiritual space. Yeah. And when you're there, you will be able to, your mind will be able to dismantle a lot of the cruddy, chaotic crap that you build up around the positive things in your life. We tend to put all these little things that are so irrelevant onto tasks. And you said it best, probably our second weekend, and you said, Mom, quit missing, you're missing the dream and going straight to the nightmare. You're speeding past the dream, and it's wow, you're right.
That's what anxiety does though. A lot of these mental health issues, it's why you got to if you stay present in the moment, and you can be grateful for the things around you, which is really easy to do when you're traveling and in that sense of awe. But it's important to do that regardless, because otherwise those fears and anxieties and things are going to creep in and create fantasized evidence that appears real. That's what fear means. They're all fantasies.
That appears real. That is very clever. I don't know who said it first, but that's very clever.
I took a couple different people's acronyms and put them together. It's me doing the integration work instead of creativity.
And you know what? Isn't that the whole point of doing these types of podcasts? Is everybody can say the same thing, but everybody says it slightly different. And it's going to depend on what resonates with you as a human being, as a person, as a I deal with a lot of patients, people who are struggling and fighting with chronic whatever, whether that's chronic unhappiness, chronic pain, chronic illness, chronic disease, chronic anxiety, chronic something that is interfering with the quality of your life, something that's holding your happiness hostage. I don't give a shit what it is. If something's holding your happiness hostage, the power of cannabis, neurolinguistic programming, and hypnosis can help clear those ways. It opens up the hallways so that the right messages can get through. And the proof is in the pudding, they say. Well, guess what? All those books that I've been working on, that have been sitting on the shelf doing diddly squat, that prior to going away, I managed to get out one stinking little volume of the Cannabis Companion, Consumption Companion. And it was a beautiful little piece, and I was very happy with it. It's filled with
that. It answered people's questions, you know, like they wanted to know more about strains. They wanted somewhere that they could document. And you're like, okay, you took the feedback and you created it for them.
Well, I had been sort of working on this for another project, but it was one of those projects that really hadn't come to fruition. It was one that was literally molding back here. And by mold, I mean that yucky stuff that grows on it and hides the good stuff. Okay. So
not the kind that we find with mycelium and mushrooms.
Right. So I, kind of put this out there and kind of trying to get my engine going, get going kind of thing. And then I ran away. And we went on this wonderful cruise. Wow. Okay. I came back. Book 1 is wonderful. You can record up to 60 strains. How do you record your strains? Just like this. This is how you keep track of what you're smoking or what you're ingesting or what you're in.
I like that you include, okay, well, what's the mood? What's your body? You're talking about what's the THC content, the CBD content, all these kind of things matter.
And
is that the terp? You have something for terps too?
Yeah, terps are right here. So, and all terps are always going to be different. So I don't identify them because you might be looking for linolene, whereas I'm looking for limonene, you know?
And sometimes it's really crazy combinations that are in there too. So you can just type in or write in what it is that's specific to that strain.
Exactly. And knowing other cannabinoids is important as well. Like CBG, cannabigerol, is very important to an aging population with, I mean, many of us are starting to experience brittle bone syndrome. Many of us are starting to experience different forms of arthritic inflammation or arthritic type of inflammation, which brings me to another completion. So
yeah, she's turning into the person that completes
When I got home, I was so excited. And it's like, oh, I know exactly how to put these pieces together. So volume 2 is available. In volume 1, you're going to find on each and every journal, there's a little, under each one, there is a different strain that I have tried and one of my reviews on that strain. That's in volume 1.
It's got to be something good because you are a bit of a snob when it comes to weed.
Well, I don't want to say, I guess
it's because you've been a judge, right? You've been, how many years were you judging for now?
Geez. I guess I've been in competitions or different competitions now since 2016, 2015, 2014, thereabouts. 2014 was my first year.
I got sober in 2014, so I always remember that year.
There you go. So that's
and then Finn in 2016, so that's another good memory.
That's awesome. So yeah, I am a bit of a snob because I know what I'm looking for. When somebody says, "Hey, try this," my judge brain kicks in and says, "Let's assess it and judge it," right? But if somebody says, "Hey, I grew some weed in the backyard. You want to have a puff?" My judge brain doesn't kick in. It's like, "Oh, that's cool shit. You grew that outdoors, eh?" Or,
"Hey, I'm in America right now, so I'm catching it."
Cool.
Yeah, and same with out in the bush, eh?
Out in the bush, eh? Yeah. Well, we ain't all got the red fox in the box, or I don't know.
We'll try that one again later.
Okay, so volume 2, I got really excited and I share a whole lot more. In volume 2, again, you can record over 60 strains, but I'm sharing a lot more information about the strains. And I've kind of changed the format around a little bit because sometimes we want to vape, sometimes we want to smoke. Sometimes. So how did you do it? Because you know what? Trying tiger's blood on the volcano vape machine has an entirely different effect. The taste is surprisingly the same, but the euphoria that's achieved is actually quite different between the vaped and the smoked tiger's blood. So where I was talking, so this inspired because of these strains being shared in these books. We actually took all of the strains that I've been consuming, starting with some of my preferred favorites, and we created for CBG TV this amazing program that you'll see in between the different amazing programs that are playing. You know, like This Old Tent, for example, or Spiritual Sundays, or right here we've got Ashley's show, The Integration Station. We are also broadcasting, I think we're 16 different programs now here on CBG TV. And so in between those shows, in breaks, rather than a whole lot of commercials, what we've done in order to keep CBG TV running and operational, the costs have to be covered, right? Which means we have to do some fundraising, because this can't come out of the founders' pockets day after day after day. So in the fundraising, we've collected all of these strains and we've put them to books. This is volume 1 of CBG TV's Bud Break. Yes, I got not just 1 and 2 done, 1 before, 1 after, but I also got CBG TV's Bud Break Volume 1 done. Volume 2 is nearly done. We're waiting for some assets from a few more of our ad partners who have helped us to produce and publish this book. All of the funds from Bud Break go direct, like all of the proceeds go directly to supporting CBG TV's ongoing efforts.
Yeah, and it's so needed because every one of us is part of CBG, Pace Radio, or Psychonauts TV, where this also goes, Future Cannabis Project. Like, everybody is just trying to share knowledge for a common reason to help with holistic health, help raise the consciousness of this planet, because a lot of people are suffering. And we do a lot of this work for free. So to create outlets where we can monetize is really important. This is a great way to get something that you guys can use and be interactive with and get a lot of benefit from. But also, I think it's great that that money goes towards paying for some of the stuff that we pay for.
Right. Well, it helps get us to events and things like that as well. Right. When we're not, even when we're media ad partners, there's still an expense to us attending those events.
Yeah.
So we're bringing these books. So we'll have volume 1, volume 2. Who knows? The next event, I think, is Can Expo, possibly Lift. Who knows? I'm not really sure. We've got several events coming up. We'll be bringing these. We're asking for a donation at the booths rather than selling. These are author copies that will be selling for donation at the booth. So, and in there is literally, I have spelled it out loud and clear. Let's just go here. For example, speaking of Bloomsticks and Vior earlier, for our Daily Double.
They were great. Like, they really hooked us up.
Yes, they really did. So ChemDog. Okay. So not only do I tell you about ChemDog, you get its lineage, you get the terpenes, you get the primary terpenes, you get the primary cannabinoids. It tells you what the health and benefits are. It tells you how to use it. Like, I mean, if you're using it for ChemDog because you've got pain in your feet because you've been on your feet all day, you might want to use also a cannabis infused bath bomb while you're enjoying that ChemDog puff. Soak your feet in a cannabis infused bath bomb. You want to know how to make one? Guess what? Irene got another book finished. Yes.
She really is the person who completes things now. This trip changed her. She's a whole different person.
Oh. So
this is when the procrastinator becomes the productivity queen.
This little booklet, and that's all it is, it's just a thin little booklet, has been sitting on the shelf since 2016 waiting to be finished. Are you ready to know how much mold grew around developing this book? Do you know what was left to do on this book? It was to write the dedication. That was all the task left to finish this book since 2016. And it's like, you silly, 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 silly girl. But that's what life does to us. If we stay still, what do they say? Rolling stones don't grow.
Yeah, a rolling stone collects no moss. I've been told that my whole life being a
I didn't keep that, right? And I didn't keep that project rolling. Instead, I stalled it. It grew moss, and all it needed was a dedication. And so the dedication has been written for the ill, the tired, the stressed and sore, for the puffer, the stoner, the grower and more. To another rotation, puff, puff, pass, be happy, get healthy and stay strong.
At last.
Right?
Or at last. It's so cute.
Right? But it's done. That's all it needed. So it's available.
Done is better than perfect.
Oh,
right?
Perfectly imperfect.
Right? Nature has this way, when Mama Nature is your role model and nature, like spending time in nature is your church, you start to realize that it's the most imperfect things that are so fucking beautiful.
It's true.
Nothing she does is perfect. But when you look at it, it's like it can be more perfect.
That's the
ultimate illusion and the cosmic giggle all in one.
So, of course, having finally gotten those pieces out and going, wow, that was all that book needed to get it on the shelf. And knowing with all the patients out there that I am helping in different ways, and so many of them, I end up sending this piece of document to this one, or this piece of research material to that one, or this piece to that, and it's all in bits and pieces. And they're like, they're Irene, just give me it all in one lump sum. I talked about CBG. A lot of people, especially in my age category, are starting to deal with chronic inflammation issues.
Yeah, which is the leading cause of any disease. Disease in the body is inflammation.
Exactly. And so this is where the meat of the Info is Power series. These are supplemental support resources. Keep track of the cannabis you're consuming. Keep track of, find new cannabis strains to try. I mean, if you're sitting there smoking a joint and you're getting tired of the same old strain, what
strain is this? Piff.
Smoking piff. Okay, well, send me a review to add to the next volume. I'm not familiar with piff. There's so many different strains,
Oh, this one's just piff. This is RS11.
RS11 is the sugarcane.
This is what we're smoking.
Very, very nice. Okay, so let me see a bud. Can I see a bud?
Yeah.
That's more hazy.
It's like a haze.
Look at you. You look like a granddaddy back there. I know.
Oh, yeah.
Al teased me about it recently. I was doing the same thing. Okay, so put that bud up. Let's see it.
Hold on. Let's see if I can find a bigger one. There you go. That's nicer.
Okay, get it right up to the camera. Ooh, she's pretty. Oh, I bet you she's nice and sticky, eh?
I don't know. I didn't finger bust this.
Okay, well, don't go.
No, don't. It's probably for a reason.
That's very cool. So, and you know what? With all the different strains, Piff, RS11, I remember the first time I heard the strain called Green Crack. I mean, Papa, my 90-plus-year-old grandfather's favorite strain was Stripper Spit. I could never tell him that it was called Stripper Spit. I told him it was just a special strain,
Yeah.
But with all these different names, as a new patient, let's say you've never really, you might have had a puff here or there, but now you're getting up there and you're starting to pull 50 on a trailer hitch, and 60 isn't. It's literally around the corner, and you've got issues, and you don't want to be loading up on the pharmaceuticals. That being said, you've already heard, because there's enough news in the media now talking about cannabis being a absolute wonderful weed for health and wellness. They talk about it being a medical marvel. They talk about, cannabis is the cure. Well, it's not the cure all to be all to end all. Let me put that point blank. Your body didn't get broken overnight. It's not going to get fixed overnight. You're going to have to change a number of different things, but it's easy to do effortlessly. Seriously, I've done it. It's, get rid of things like the pharmaceuticals. In my particular case, I was able to get rid of all of them, and start, how do you say that, Ashley? You force out the bad stuff by introducing the good stuff.
Crowding out,
right? So obviously I'd started with cannabis, and it was infused in my meals. It was impregnated into muslin cloth to be wrapped around my legs for the muscle spasms that I was experiencing. It was in my tea. It was in my cream of wheat. It was in my bath water. It was it was in my lungs because I was smoking and vaping it. I had the volcano. I had the bath. I had the works and was using cannabis in every which way. When I first got off of all the pharmaceuticals, I raced to my doctor. I was so convinced, absolutely convinced, that I had found the cure, and it was cannabis. And everybody had to know that cannabis was this miracle thing. And my doctor assured me that he had heard all about it and basically get back on the pharmaceuticals, which I did not. He got fired. Long story short, I now preach the power of pot to everybody and anybody who's willing to listen. And for those who aren't willing to listen to my voice, I got the books, okay? Some of the things you're going to have to change. It's not, here's the thing, you've gotten older. You're not 20 anymore. You know it. I know it. We all know it. So we start doing things, but how do we do that easily and effortlessly? Well, if you want to attack arthritis, there's a battle strategy. This is basically my battle strategy combined with other people that I've worked with that have gotten their battle strategy together to give you something to start with. It's about attacking arthritis. What kinds of things are you going to do? Let's take a look. I mean, we're going to talk a little bit very briefly about the epidemic. You don't need to know. You hear it every day. Some of the traditional approaches, the promise of cannabis hypnosis and NLP, and the purpose and scope of this book, which is the most important part. So I talk a little bit about the different types of arthritis and what could be considered arthritis, even though it is not traditionally orthodox, traditional. Any inflammation now is often classified as arthritis, is my point. Then I talk about the benefits of using cannabis. I talk about the different methods of using cannabis. In particular, I talk about digesting it raw. I talk about the difference between that and decarboxylated, what the benefits are that you are achieving from both of those things. Using them topically, how to use them topically. Again, I believe, and I've included recipes here to help you get started. There's arthritis busting smoothie, which I absolutely love. And it's really, really good. Like, it's delicious. Even if you don't have arthritis, you want to enjoy this, and you're not going to get high from it. So you don't have, but you're going to get a crap load of nutrients. And then we get into some activated menus if you want to have. I talk about integrating hypnosis and NLP. I provide different techniques and scripts and things to try. I talk about lifestyle change ultimately too, because it's important. Fueling your body for joint health is really, really important. You want to get exercise in, stress management. We talk about how to do all of that. And I talk about how to do all of that in an easy, sort of fun, logical, fun way. Somebody recently got battle beastly bowels. Okay, so there's attack arthritis. There's battle beastly bowels. When I'm battling beastly bowels or talking about battling beastly bowels in here, it's down to earth. As somebody who recently read the book just wrote to me, thank you. That was very pragmatic approach. Like, it's just bottom line. It's logical. It goes in, it's got to come out. And if it's not coming out, it's stuck somewhere. If it's stuck somewhere, it's leaching through your colon. If it's leaching through your colon, you're getting toxic and sick.
And it's so much more common than you think. Like, I thought it was so weird when I was going through nutrition school. I'm like, how am I supposed to talk to people about poop? But then I was also a mom who's like, baby pooped in her hand and had like her nephew puke in her mouth. I'm like, nothing freaks me out anymore. Like, just talk about it. So now I ask those questions. Okay, well, what does it look like? You know, and now I literally have a text message on here asking me about poop this morning. So, you know, it's really common and it needs to be talked about. And I'm really grateful that you're talking about it, because this is a personal struggle for you as well. You're
right. As you well know, historically, when I was sick and loaded in pharmaceuticals, I was taking 93 pharmaceuticals per day. I was
a lot of them opiates.
Yes. Now, that's not 93 different ones. That's 93 in total. There was probably about 12 or 13 different meds. And some of them were to help me poop, and some of them were were stopping my pooping. Bottom line was, after 7 years of this kind of health care, it's really hard to say. My bowels.
It's called sick care system.
Yes, my bowels just quit working. They just said, "Fuck this, I'm done," and they stopped. I would have a bowel movement every 28 to 32 days on average, and it was like that for me for about 3 years. The only reason I hadn't gone in for the surgery to have the colostomy bag attached was because I was too weak to go through the surgery. So fortunately, long story short, after I got rid of all the pharmaceuticals and was only using cannabis and psyching myself out, which I later realized was NLP, which is why I got into the study of NLP for health and wellness. And hypnosis, I've done since I was a child, self-hypnosis for survival, and just never realized it until I started to study hypnosis. Or actually, I studied a friend who was studying hypnosis, which led me to studying hypnosis and becoming a certified hypnotist, as well as a neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, and of course, a cannabis consultant. That being said, attack arthritis, beat beastly bowels, combat chronic pain, strategic sleep solutions. There is a multitude, and there are new titles coming up every day, because all of these titles, there are 26 in total, are in different stages of completion that are now getting completed. Yes. Okay.
On that, I'm going to just share our sponsors and some of the work that they're doing. And when we return, we can dive into some of this other stuff. And I'm excited. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you in a couple minutes.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net. Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
Are you a cannabis content creator? Are you looking for a place to have your content seen? If you answer yes to both questions, then you need to check out cbgtv.com. CBG TV, broadcasting to a worldwide audience. Find us at cbgtv.com.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Are you looking to get your medical cannabis grow license? Limestone City Hydroponics can help patients through the process of obtaining their license to grow medical cannabis. What's that? You don't have a doctor. If you meet the medical criteria, Limestone City Hydroponics has a nurse practitioner who can assess and provide medical cannabis prescriptions. What are you waiting for? Contact Limestone City Hydroponics at limestonecityhydroponics.ca or call them at 613-548-0420.
PACE Radio is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network.
Legacy 420 have an awesome array of cannabis-infused beverages, from pop to Nature's Nectar's teas, all in amazing flavors. What a selection! We even have a delicious mango-infused juice, and let me tell you, it's delicious.
Everything is infused in-house, so we buy our syrup from the same place where everybody else buys their syrup for their pop, and the infusion is done in the lab. It's all canned here, labeled here, produced 100% on Tyndonega.
We have two lines of drinks. One's called our Nature's Nectar. That was our original line that we came out with, and then we also have a line under the Red E brand. We have them in 10 milligrams, 30 milligram, and 60 milligram cans.
What a great selection for a get-together with friends or after a long day. Remember, if you want to wet your whistle with on-site lab-tested products, come see your trusted partner. Legacy 420 out on your road.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Hey, that was kind of cool. Good timing.
Yeah. Welcome back. Happy to be back. I was in it. Steve was looking for his keys, and Finn is asking me like how much time is left, and yeah, because we're going out to go to a pumpkin patch and things like that, and yeah, just a busy day.
Very cool. That would have been a cool recipe. I was showing this off before the break, the cooking with cannabis, because if you're looking to infuse your day or medicate your day, this is a really simple way. Literally, I give you the recipes for the basics that you need and then show you how to infuse it. I think there is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in here.
That's
like
great.
As recipes.
The simple things.
Yeah. Oh, it's like there's a soup, a tomato soup. There's infused cannabis infused pasta. There's a grilled cheese sandwich. That's what it is. But how do you infuse or medicate your day? That's how. And
anything that takes butter or coconut oil, or
right?
You can use it as a pepper substitute too if you grind up the leaves and even some of the flour if you wanted to. It's simple to add.
And that's
It almost needs to be done. How many people throw out their trim or don't know what to do with it?
So I'll tell you, and here's what I tell everybody, and here's the first time I share this secret outside of the books. When you're trimming your plants, take all of your trim, your sugar shake trim and your good trim. Your big fan solar leaves, don't worry about so much. But the rest of it, separate it, clean it. I give it a wash in the sink, and then I grab it while it's wet and I freeze it in ice cube trays. Pop those ice cubes out when they're done freezing, pop them into a bag, and throughout the winter time, it really helps because raw cannabis contains all of these nutrients essential to human sustenance, to sustainability. Our health and wellness depends on the cannabinoids in their acidic form as well as in whatever form. But we have an endogenous system called the endocannabinoid system. That ECS system, when you're feeding it raw cannabis, lights you up. So a perfect recipe, grab 2 of those ice cubes, raw cannabis. You're adding that to 2 carrots, 2 orange juice. You flip those 2 oranges, you flip that up in the morning. That is like a double, triple, quadruple shot of vitamin D. I don't know how much it is, but it's a shitload. And in the dead of winter, so anybody out there harvesting right now and trimming your plants, save that sugar shake. It's good for so many things. It's great for making your topical oils. It's great for making your edibles. It's great for making your butters. It's great for making your spa solutions, like your cannabis bath. And I mean, the ability to make these things for ourselves in itself is healthy and well for our minds. It's self-care, it's self-love, it's self-attention. So when you're making your own cannabis infused bath salts, or you're making your own medicated menu for the day, you're doing your mind great health, great wellness as well.
Yeah. It's this ripple effect.
Yeah, it ends up.
Yes. It starts in the body. It's like always like a cycle. I almost like to think about it like spokes on a bike. If they're all in alignment, like that wheel can go for quite a while, especially, when you're hitting those easy roads, but you can get momentum to drive up those big ones pretty fast too. If a few of those spokes are out of alignment, it's okay. You'll go for a little while. It might be a little bit harder, but eventually if you keep going, and this is that chronic part, eventually it's going to be a really hard ride and you're going to be really hurt afterwards.
Exactly.
So it's really important to keep every single one of those spokes of life in alignment. These are things that you help with through integrating not only the medicine for that, introspection work and just like the ease of the pain and the willpower to get off of the other stuff, or like the mindset shift to get off the other stuff, but also with the hypnosis and the NLP, you bring a lot to the table when it comes to that type of integration too. And now there's this self-guided approach where people can access this information through just little booklets, one at a time, just like one step at a time. Pick your priority and focus in.
Yeah, depending on how, and that's how I broke the books up, was depending on how, you want to build your battle strategy, because I hate being told this is the way to do it and this is how you have to do it. I will purposely try to redefine the fucking wheel. I don't know why my brain works like that. But if somebody says, well, here's a bunch of tools and I know you put them together, you'll get what you need. Okay, I'm in, right? And so that's kind of how I laid this out. If you've decided you're going to activate your menu, if you've decided you're going to activate, sleep is so important to us. And it's the one thing we start to lose the most of as we age, for whatever reasons, and regardless of what your reasons are. And everybody has plenty of them, because it can be justified very easily. The truth is, you can train your brain to go to sleep. You can train your body to appreciate the sleep it's getting and to suck the most out of it, to get that 6 to 8 hours that your body needs, depending on your dietary well, it could be 6 to 10 hours, I should say. But so sleep, finding sleep solutions that are natural instead of popping a pill that is just going to cause you to back up your bowels. And if your bowels get backed up, you're going to ultimately be facing inflammation and be diagnosed with some form of arthritis. I got your back, baby. But I mean, that's how it goes. It's this evolution of conditions that, right? So depending on where you are in the cycle of chaos for chronic, there is, where there's a will, there's a way. And we said that, how many times did we say that on our trip?
Yeah, that was something that your mom said. You were channeling her a bit, and it was a really nice experience as well. It helps with the grieving process. I feel like I've still been doing it in some ways, but I'm also like helping some of the good stuff to integrate into me too. Like, if that makes sense. But it's been like an emotional journey, and for that trip, because you you guys talked about different travels and through Canada. So we were actually laying ashes, and you made these little feet for the footprints poem and laid them out in different destinations. I've been going through pictures and been making videos, and I'm like, they're there. And then now I'm alone. Like when I was with you, you know, there's like a distraction when like Finn's with me, there's a distraction. But right now there's like so much space, no fucking danger, no anything, lots of animals. It's like there was time for me. And holy hell, I tell you, I hugged a cherry tree and my life changed. I cried and cried and cried. There was another medicine that we worked with before the whole trip when I was leaving for my trip. That was from a different plant, Mimosa hostilis. Do you remember? Do you feel like talking about that?
Honestly, I don't remember.
With the vape on the beach. And we were working with NN-DMT.
Oh, yes. That was a very unique experience. I was very grateful to have you handy, though, because that would have freaked me out otherwise. Like I would have thought I was having a stroke or something. Like, oh, yeah. Okay, this is how my story ends. But yeah, that wow, yeah, no, I really still don't know what to say about it. It was very different. The closest experience I could ever explain to it would be when I drowned. When I was a child, I had fallen off of a boat, and I got trapped. My hair or something got trapped in the propeller, and the bubbles around me began to burst. And I remember thinking that they were really beautiful. And there was sparkles and colors and bursting and just a beyond comprehensible understanding. I was fine. Seconds later, I was out of the water. Seconds later, I was back on the beach with you. It was the same kind of experience. It was like just there's all this chaos and then pops and bursts and energy just and stuff, and then incomprehensible.
It's a universal language. It's like a different language. It is really hard to transform those thoughts. And I'm sorry I put you on place, but I realize we've done so much stuff and been so busy that we haven't really talked about it. And it was something that since that experience, no, I maybe did have like a couple more ceremonies, to be honest, because I've been called to it because I was working with Bufo. But the NN, I just worked with it here on this farm too, and it helped me with grief. But also, I felt this really big shift. And it might be the seasons, it might be different things, but it was like just incredible, you know.
Do you ever notice how you can, when we try to define the why, and here's what I found on the trip. The relief, the gift, that the biggest gift I got personally, like spiritually, was I don't have to know why. It's not mine. I'm not the fucking universe.
You don't have to know the way.
Right?
Feel the way. Trust the way.
Yeah. And that's just it. It's, you know, whatever the reason, this is good. It does, whatever the reason, thank you. And I'm glad this is where I'm at, and this is good. And I need to take this because who knows, right? Life is, and you know, something I've been learning, I feel your pain. I really do, with the grief and the surprise of it sometimes. You don't expect it. turn to do something and you see something and boom, or you smell something, or, and I mean, I know it's been a great, like, it's been a while. But that's, I don't think, and this is personal, a personal opinion, I don't know that grief ever truly ends. I think it simply changes. And finding ways of seeing the positive in the now, so that when the energies are reunited, when my energy becomes a part of the universal energy that our lost ones have become a part of, I have something more than they knew to bring to it. You know, it's like, oh, and she must have done this, or she must be feeling that, or not she. And I know that's a little too fucking human ego-ish, but I know it's about
creator,
maintaining a positive, healthy, happy energy to emanate and to give back to the universe, and to stay open to the universal positive energy, you know?
I totally get it. And this is one of the reasons why I really like working with smoke in a sacred way too, whether it be cannabis smoke or working with incense or whatever it is, smudging. It could be mint or like a mugwort or whatever you want it to be, DMT. I got to make a book about that because that was a good rhyme. Maybe a rap. My next career, I'll be coming out with a rap.
I've got my dish, my bowl, my shell right there. And yes, I find daily smudging really does help.
It calls in like
positive.
Yeah. It can clear out spaces. You get it into like all the corners. And if you can't get the smoke into an area by wafting it, or like, I don't know if that's a good word for that, wafting, but when you're like doing the smudge and the smoke can't get in, that means you have to feng shui that area. You know, get everything out, then you clean it out, then you put back what actually matters. This is a good time of year for it. Even, you know, Mama Nature is teaching us how beautiful it is to just let some stuff go. And I've been doing that emotionally. I thought I was angry. No, I'm just like really had so much like sadness inside of me that I could not let go of, that I was a bitch. But not really. I'm a really kind person. It's not that, but it's like that I would feel that anger, and that anger would manifest in things like irritation in my skin and other parts of inflammation. You know, it is all one thing. Emotions, we're never taught emotional intelligence in school. That's not something that's taught. That's something you have to go out and learn and take responsibility for on your own. And it sucks. The whole fucking thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, I think emotional intelligence is an evolution of mankind. I think it's something that we're learning as we populate.
We had time for it finally. We didn't have time for that when we were running from jaguars in the rainforest.
Right?
With a leaf that they apparently, according to a meme, every once in a while would take off and smoke. There was a meme of like Adam and Eve and being like, hey, where did that leaf go?
Hey, I don't want to know who the first guy to walk up to a cow and go, hey, let me try this was. I also really want to thank the first guy who looked at a cannabis plant and said, I wonder what that smells like burnt. Okay. So
I wonder if it was just like a bonfire. I always pictured it as a bonfire or something like that. And then everybody got high and they're like, we need to do this. And then people started rolling it up and smoking it.
Well, my friend, okay, so there's a whole story that goes along with this, but my friend Manny back in the day, came from Jamaica or somewhere. No, not Jamaica, Trinidad. I don't know. Somewhere. I think it was Jamaica. Anyway. And he used to tell this story about what they would do. And they build a pit, like a fire pit, because we do this down at the beach. I didn't puff, so I didn't partake at that time. But as you know, all my friends did. So Manny would build this pit, and then he would line it with, I believe it was banana leaves. We used banana skins to line it with. And then he would fill it with hash and pot, like everybody dumped their little baggie in, and they packed that over with something. And they all had these little tube straws. We used the, I believe it was the cattail rods that they used, that they dried out. And they all were puffing on this. And it was, you know, he said back home, they did it slightly different, but it's the same concept. And then Uncle Jim used to talk about, you know, that you hear in the Jamaican drums during they're making hash between those layers. That's why Uncle Jim had that drum all those years. Remember when he'd sit on his porch when you were little and he'd be tapping away on that? Never did get good at. I remember you commenting he never got good at making a song. He wasn't trying to. You know, he was making his hash. And yeah. So,
I used to love going, like, you know, he was like, I could go and smoke a joint with him as an adult and he didn't drink. Like, it was a different dynamic spending time with him than most of the other people in my childhood.
Yeah.
You know, he was like,
Uncle Jim wasn't a drinker. I mean, he'd have a beer here or there.
Yeah. But
you know,
he didn't have those same issues. So it gave me a different like perspective on
he did.
This.
He just had control over them.
Yeah, and he smoked weed. And like as a teenager, when your mom's throwing out your hash, you can go sit.
I was very against it. Yes. I, like many from my generation, had been educated by public service announcements of our time. Weed was the devil's lettuce. It was horrible. It would fry your brain. And the only ones who did it were the hippies. And you didn't want to be a hippie. God forbid. Now, you know, it's like, I don't know, it's the cool thing. But you know, it's just, that's how I was educated. And so being educated that way, again, thankfully, my baby brother I was gifted my baby brother in my life for the time that I was. He convinced me. He said, you're going to take meds anyway, because he was very against pharmaceuticals. And he said, you're going to take them anyway. If you're going to try them, you might as well try pot. So I did. And you rolled my joint for me.
We did the waterfall
so that I could consume it, because I wasn't capable of holding on to anything. All of my muscles were atrophying, and it just wasn't pretty. Anyway, yeah.
On this, I am going to just share the goodbyes. But I've been sharing GreenIrene's information all along in the banner for anybody who missed it. I'm going to share it in the description below. But I do really want to thank you for being here. Stay after, because we got some more talking to do, and you can hang out with Finn too, just while we finish up sending off the show. But yeah, thank you so much. And we're going to make sure that people reach out and get these books. And maybe if I can too, get Uncle Jim's link for his, if there's still royalties going to the girls for that, because he had many as a medicine man, and he made some for kids that were just workbooks and things too. So a lot to check out.
Coloring books. I just did the coloring books that we were working on. I just finished those up. But on that note, www.greenirene.ca.
Okay, great. Yes, thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network, here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyndonega Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420. We are people advocating cannabis education